Mirror the video. I'm still annoyed by the fact that I need to hit flip. Okay, tweets going out. Tweets going out. Did it work? Let's see. Did it work everywhere? I would really love it if it worked. And refreshing. Why is it not working? I do not understand. It's annoying to me that it's not working. So just for everyone who's tuning in, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. TikTok is having a problem in that it's not sharing the live broadcast properly. So I'm going to YouTube to get it so I can share it because Twitter is annoying me. How do we do this? Bear with me, folks. And by the way, while you stare at me doing other things other than talking to you, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service, and I need to fix the internet right now. Maybe I can just retweet the voiceover cop one. Okay. Maybe this is going to work. I love complications when things don't work. Okay. Did it work on the other one? Yeah, of course it worked on the other one. Okay. I'm going to retweet it. Don't know why, but it's going to work now, right? Let's see. Yeah, it's working now. So I'll delete that one. And now I can ignore everything else in the world and focus on you guys. Good morning, everybody. Again, happy Tuesday. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service, and I am here on your TikTok and a bunch of other platforms. We're doing traffic and police answers, questions, and the like. If you are here and you've got questions, feel free to ask them. We are simultaneously broadcasting on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. So we got all the bases covered. If you're on any of those platforms, feel free to ask questions in the chat. You can ask questions there, and they will come onto my screen so I can answer and address them. I already see we got a bunch of people on Twitch, and we have them on YouTube, a couple in there, a couple coming in from the traffic services page. So wherever you're coming in from, welcome. Now, I don't generally look into the chat room. We have a bunch of moderators or volunteers, not police officers, who are here helping us keep it classy by making sure no one's spamming the chat. If you are spamming, they're going to mute you or remove you depending on what you're doing. But hopefully, we can all keep it classy and get to everyone's questions. We'll jump in and out and back and forth between platforms, so I'm not trying to ignore anyone. But if you do want to make sure I see your question and you are on TikTok, make sure you hit the Q&A flag. Weird things going on TikTok this morning in that I can't see the Q&A section outside. I was going to do a bunch of response videos, and it's not working. Don't know why. Neon, what's that?
Good morning.
Good morning, Q. What's happening?
Chat wants to know, how are you so awesome?
I just can't help myself. I actually got more sleep last night than normal, so my awesome meter is on full today. Thanks for asking. Neon, one of our moderators, said, "Good, blessed Tuesday morning, everybody." And thanks for the positive vibe there. And we have Will. I saw Will. I swear I saw Will. There's Will. Good morning and happy Tuesday. Okay. Can you drive by yourself with just a G1? If you have a G1, you should know the answers to this because it's one of those required reading things. And no, you can't. If you have a G1, you must be supervised by a driver who is a qualified supervising G. That means they have a G-class license and they have a total of 4 years experience that accrued from the point that you got your G2. So if you have 2 years as a G2 and 2 years as a G, you're good to you're qualified to supervise a G1 driver. If you decide to throw caution to the wind and break the law, there's some things you need to know about driving as a G1, solo anyway. And the deal is that, one, you can get a ticket for drive G1 unaccompanied. That comes with a 30-day suspension on conviction for the first time. Second time is 90 days. Third time, you get kicked out of the graduated licensing program, sent packing. You lose all the time that you've accrued towards getting your G2 because you have to wait 8 months to 12 months, depending if you have training. So you get kicked out of the program for a drive unaccompanied or actually for violating your conditions 3 times. You lose all that time. You lose all that money. You start fresh. And so that's important to know. Additionally, a G1 driver driving unaccompanied is not covered by an insurance policy. The car might be insured, but they will deny your claims if you are found to have been driving without a license, effectively in contravention of your learner's permit, because you're not permitted to drive alone. Additionally, the person who lent you their car, whether they knew you didn't have a proper license or not, can be charged under the Highway Traffic Act for permitting an unlicensed or improperly licensed driver from operating the motor vehicle. So there's a bunch of things. Now they say, well, I didn't give my friend permission to take my car. He took it by without permission, and that's how you were driving G1 unaccompanied. Well, then you're looking at criminal charges of drive motor vehicle without consent. So any way you cut it, it's a really bad idea. And I hope I answered your question sufficiently. I think I covered all angles, but we'll see. If you got more questions and you think you need more info, let me know. Now let's see here. So a question from the chat room that Q has so graciously shared with us. What constitutes impeding traffic? Well, impeding traffic means if you are driving in such a manner that is slower or blocking other people from going with, the limit, the legal limit, because you can't go beyond the legal limit, so it's hard to impede traffic if you're traveling at the speed limit. But if for no reason, no reasonable reason, you're driving slowly, and I mean slowly as truly, you're doing 50 and 100, you're impeding traffic at that point. There's no real reason for that. Big Jeff Fresh just jumped in on YouTube. Good morning to you. So you're blocking, you're preventing people from driving appropriately. It's to some degree subjective. You may have a good reason for it. Now, a disabled vehicle or a flat tire, these are not reasons. That's a pull off the road, call a tow truck situation. You shouldn't be driving with a disabled or limping vehicle. Neon asks that you boop my nose. And what he means by that, if you are on TikTok, he wants you to double tap that screen. Double tap shows that you like the chat. It helps promote it on TikTok so we can bring more people into the room. 190 people in here. You may not have been here when you first came in. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service, and I answer your traffic and police questions. If you've got questions, throw them into the Q&A, and I will get to them. Okay, let's see here. Can I buy a car and put parts on it when I only have a G1? It's cut off on the screen, but you can buy a car without a driver's license. That's not a requirement. It's only operating that motor vehicle that requires a driver's license. So you can buy a car if someone else drives it with your G1, and then again, you can you may have some difficulty getting insurance for it if you're not a properly licensed driver, but that's between you and the insurance company. Good things to know. Is it okay to appeal a ticket after the initial 15 days? So you have 15 days to file. If you don't file it then, you might be found guilty they'll just determine you haven't paid your ticket and you haven't disputed it. So you may find a payment notice in the mail. You may have to go and reopen it. But you need to check. There might be some delays in all of that happening because of the pandemic. But normally, after that 15-day window has closed, you need to apply for a reopening. And I don't know the process if it's the same as it used to be, but it used to be attending court, making an appointment with the Justice of the Peace. You have to tell them why you need to do it. And then ultimately, if they grant it to you, you may have to pay in advance the fine, which would be refunded if you won. If I'm not mistaken. Again, it's been years since I've been involved in the courts that way. I used to be a court officer, so I used to see people coming in all the time to do that. Let's see here. What do green speed signs mean? I have green speed signs? I'm shaking my head, and Sarge is shaking his head because I don't know. I've never seen a green speed sign. Where does this beast exist? Because I need to know. Yellow ones we know about. White and black ones we know about, the regulated signs. But I'm not familiar with a green one. Why is having a loud car illegal? So loud cars, well, first of all, because there's a charge that says you shall not create unnecessary noise, and that unreasonable and unnecessary. So part of that is, you disrupt and make the community around you unhappy, and that's part of it. There is a noise pollution thing, even if you're not in a car. You're not supposed to create ridiculous noise and punish the people who live in and exist in the area around your car. It doesn't matter if your car stereo, horn, or exhaust is loud. Being unnecessarily loud is unnecessary and against the law. So why do you think having a loud car should be illegal is my counter to that. Can someone with type 1 diabetes be a police officer? Yes. In fact, I see people waving their hands in my audience here, my in-studio audience. Yes, you can be a police officer with diabetes. That does not preclude you from being able to perform the duties of a police officer. Oh, here's a great question and perfect timing because Sergeant Campbell is in earshot. Do I need a slow-moving vehicle sign on my ATV? They're legal to be on the road in my township. No slow-moving vehicle. Sorry?
It's illegal. It's unlawful to put it on an ATV.
Oh, not only is it not required, it's unlawful, illegal to put a slow-moving vehicle sign on an ATV.
Unless it's actively engaged in farming.
Oh, unless it's actively engaged in farming. Okay. I learn all sorts of ATVs. I know nothing about ATVs other than they're fun to play with off-road. I know absolutely nothing about their use. We don't see them in Toronto, so I've never had to engage them in a policing environment. So I learn lots of stuff when we talk about ATVs. Are CB radios and their antennas legal on a normal car? Their use is considered a handheld communication device, if I'm not mistaken. So using them with a handheld PTT is a problem. Everything that I've seen of people who are still using them are using a button-activated or a foot-activated PTT and a headset. But I don't believe that they're exempt, whereas ham radios do have an exemption. So if you're an amateur radio operator, there is an exemption for handheld communication device. But there's still options that are better. I'm going to have to go look at the code to reread, but CB radios I'm fairly certain are not covered. Okay, are the yellow speed signs on highway ramps law? Those are suggested. They go with the science that says if you go beyond this, you might slide off. But I've never heard of anybody doing a radar trap on an off ramp.
So there is speed limits on
Yeah?
but it is the speed limit of the highway. The advisory
Okay.
go with the engineering of how it's
This is,
going to the
I've got the perfect answer. So the speed limit of the highway is the speed limit of the ramp, and that's what's enforceable. However, the yellow signs are suggestions, cautions, and it goes with the engineering to suggest that that's the safest way to go, so you don't, again, slide off and cause problems, like by leaving the road. Leaving the road would be bad if you were trying to drive on the road. Let's see here.
Can I ask one?
You most certainly can, Q.
Okay. In chat, there's a question that says, do you have to drive at 40 kilometers in the school zones on the weekend?
So just, you're coming in really quiet, but I did hear your question. The question was, do you have to drive at the speed limit posted in a school zone when on the weekends? And yes, unless it says otherwise, the school zone or the speed limit in the school zone is the speed limit all the time, unless it's signed like it says only when flashing or specifically states an exemption. I've not seen one that states Monday to Friday or weekends excluded. I've only seen them where they have a specific flashing sign that says 40 kilometers an hour when flashing, and then it would revert to the other speed. But yeah, they're always in force unless otherwise stated on a sign. Follow the sign.
This is better.
That is better. What would happen if I got pulled over underage? So you're underage, in other words, you're unlicensed. You'd get charged with drive unlicensed, and additionally. We'd have to figure out who's getting the next ticket, because your parents, if it's their car, would either get charged for letting you use a car unlicensed, or whoever it was that allowed you to use it. Additionally, if you took it without permission, then you're looking at charges for take vehicle without consent. So it's a bad day at the office for you. Also, you're not covered under any insurance in the event that you're in a collision. That claim would likely be denied, unless, of course, you stole the car, and then their insurance might cover it, and that gets complicated. At the end of the day, don't drive a vehicle if you're not licensed. I don't know why this is even a question. It should just be that you know what the rules are and you don't break them, because that's how you avoid problems. Yeah. Okay. Neon saying that you're still a little quiet, Q. But I don't know if it may have been delayed.
I haven't changed anything, though.
I don't
think it's
know.
better.
It's better right now, yeah. Can you pass someone on the solid yellow line? And yeah, the line allows you. There's no law for crossing the line in particular. Obviously, if you cause a collision because you drove into oncoming traffic, that's a problem. You're going to get charges. You're responsible for your actions because you have to do everything you do in safety. But just crossing over the line is not an offense. Now, the solid line is there to tell you it's not safe to do that. So you got a hint that you shouldn't do it, and then you did it anyway. And if it leads to a collision, yeah, you're going to wear that. What is this? Can I do my full G test with a baby in the car? I don't know if that would be a problem or not. And, I assume that could, unless there was some reason that you couldn't. And I'm not aware of any reason. If the safe driver's in the room, maybe he's got an answer for you. But I'm not a tester. I would inquire with the MTO to get the definitive answer. Now, just from my personal opinion, if you can't arrange for childcare, I understand that you need to do what you have to do, but you're going to be in a stressful situation, being tested. And if your child is having a bad day and is crying or causing an issue, and that might affect your ability to concentrate on the task at hand of doing your test, I wouldn't want you to fail because of the stress. And I, as a parent, would try and find somebody to take care of the child for the period of time on that test. I understand it's not always possible, but that would be my suggestion, just because we want you to pass your test. And Chris Schultz from Michigan. How's it going? Lansing, Michigan. Welcome to our channel. We're in Toronto. We're not that far away. I've driven to Lansing. Okay. Let's see here. Road tests are booked solid now. What to do? Just keep testing or keep trying. My suggestion is 5 in the morning, start your day, and every 10 to 15, maybe 30 minutes, keep checking, because there are tests that are vacated as they have new testing folks hired and new calendar entries made. They can make more tests available. They also don't put them on, every test until the end of time is not listed as available. They release them in chunks, and then it's first come, first serve. That's why I say check regularly. And I know that you probably have work to do or studying to do, and checking every 15 minutes may not be easy. However, it is what has been very successful for many of our viewers who have come back and said, thanks for the advice. It's worked, and they got their tests. And like in November, December, not till next year. So it is working. It is happening. Kayla jumped in from YouTube. Good morning. How's it going? And Angela, also, I missed you there. Sorry, Angela. Good morning to you.
I have one.
Yes.
I'm only moving here for 5 months. Do I have to change my driver's license?
You're only moving for 5 months. Well, for 5 months, this is your primary residence, and technically you're living at the new residence, so you should be changing your address to. And where are you moving from? Because if you're out of province, you would have to change your driver's license here after 30 days. So yeah, you are required to do the appropriate address change 6 days after you physically move to your new location. That is your new primary residence. And for 5 months, it is your primary residence. Okay. When is the normal last day for motorcycles, police motorcycles? Normally, it is going to be the Santa Claus Parade. But when weather permits, we continue to ride them as long as we can. But Santa Claus Parade, normally the day. I think that's November 17th this year, if I'm not mistaken. How do you become an officer? You apply. You know what? It's generally speaking, if you're planning your education to become a police officer, there's a lot of different avenues you can go. If you're already a professional in another area, you don't necessarily have to have police training in advance. We send you to police college once you're hired. But go look at www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers, and on that page, you've got all the information in terms of requirements for you to become a police officer, a civilian uniform member, or a civilian member, and there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of great ways to become a member of our service. But police officer in particular, you should do some reading. Volunteerism is huge, so if you don't currently volunteer, start volunteering, because you want to be committed and show that you're committed to the community that you're going to be serving. So there you go. Question from the chat is, can a police officer check your immigration status when pulling somebody over? So generally speaking, that's not part of a general conversation, but conversations do happen, and if there's a question as to whether or not somebody's here illegally, the CBSA can be contacted, and it does happen. People are on occasion investigated for overstay, and in conjunction with Canada Border Services. So yeah, we investigate all sorts of things. What other uniform jobs does Toronto Police Service have? We have parking enforcement unit, we have court officers, we have special constables, we have summons servers, document servers. Anybody else that's uniform? Station duty operators. We have, I'm trying to think if there's any other jobs that auxiliaries or volunteers, but they are uniformed members. I can't think of anything else. If you consider overalls or work clothes, we have mechanics. They wear a uniform, but different. So that we have all sorts of uniforms. Matrons, I think we still have matrons.
Yeah, that's like a special constable.
Special constable position, yeah. Used to be matron. I guess they phased it out. Now it's not specifically matron, but we probably have a few that are left, and now they'd just be under the umbrella of booker or matron, or special constable. Can you change lane while crossing an intersection? Great question. And for many years, I believed you couldn't, but that was before I was a police officer, and I found out you can. However, it's very dangerous. And if you cause a collision while you're doing that, and it's not for a valid or good, well, either way, you may be causing a collision because people who are not expecting you to make that change may start another movement. And when you're mid-intersection, it's troublesome. Could lead to a collision. So generally speaking, you want to avoid that unless there's some very good reason for it. And even then, be very cautious when you're doing it. And Q has graciously put up the torontopolice.on.ca/careers link so you can have a look if you want to screen cap that for future reference for anyone who is planning on looking up that information to become a police officer later. And just because it's been a while, just to reintroduce myself to the room, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service, and we're here on TikTok whenever we're in the office, live from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. answering your police and traffic questions because that's what we do. We're the Traffic Services Traffic Safety Programs Unit, and social media and media relations is part of our job function. So we're here to make your lives easier and be that trusted resource in the community here on TikTok and on other platforms as well. And in terms of other platforms, we're currently broadcasting on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook. So anyone who's on any of those channels is welcome to drop comments in. They do come up, and if you're watching, we get to do things like this. I'll use Chris as the example. I can drop the question on screen. It's just a cool thing. I got a button. I press it. I have a question from the chat was, do I speak French? And I would be, no, I do not speak French.
It was a question from me, actually.
Oh.
Because there was a French question that had asked whether or not there was an extension to the tickets or the stickers. So I asked if you could speak French.
I do not speak French. Do you speak
Okay.
French, Sarge? Un peu?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I barely passed French getting through high school. Bicyclette was my favorite word. Whenever my mom asked me, what did I learn today? Bicyclette was my answer. I'm fortunate to have graduated high school after French. I don't know why, but that language did not work for me. I learned other languages enough to get around when I was traveling, but French wasn't one of them. Sorry, go ahead, Q. What were you going to say?
I was going to read the answer in French, but I already put it back into the QA for you. So if you could pull that up for your French viewers, it'd be greatly appreciated.
I will go to that in a second once I find it, because I don't see it here. Let me see if I refresh. Can you have white turn signal lights instead of amber? I think they have to be amber because you can't have white facing the rear in a projected. They have to be amber or red. So I'm going to say no because I think they're improper at that point. But I haven't read. I've never been asked that question.
Yes, I would say no.
We are both in the I would say no category. Sergeant and I agreeing on the no, you cannot have white ones.
The white flashing light on the front of your vehicle could be taken as
An emergency vehicle. Yes, and having a white flashing light to the front could also be misinterpreted as an emergency vehicle. So it's a resounding no. Q, do you agree? We can have everybody in agreement. Okay, how do you become a mechanic for the Toronto Police Service? And you apply when there's a job posting because we do regularly hire mechanics, motorcycle mechanics. We just hired 2 of them because our 2 motorcycle mechanics retired. So just check our civilian listings on a regular basis. Lots and lots of jobs. There's also serviceman jobs. Is it called serviceman, service person, service? And we have tow trucks and we have all sorts of stuff. What happened if you steal your car back from cops? I don't know how you would steal from a police officer your car, because if we have your car, we've seized it. But stealing you'd be charged criminally. If you were, that sounds like a bad plan. But let's keep moving. Tow truck driving with lights, do we give way? So those are caution lights. They're not traffic clearing lights, so you don't need to pull over for a tow truck. Tow trucks, now that being said, if they're at the side of the road, you need to pull out of the way and give them space to work. It's part of the slow down, move over law, but not for when they're driving around. You don't need to give them way, no. I don't know how to pronounce what you wrote there, Q, but I'll put it on screen. That's the answer.
Il n'y a pas de rallonge.
Rallonge? Yeah, okay. I don't know what that means. What does it mean? What is the question?
There is no extension. Is there an extension to the date for the stickers? So there is no extension for the date for the stickers. But I also put in that the deadline is the 28th of February
That
of
is the extension,
2022.
which has been on. Yeah, there's been a huge extension because it didn't matter if you expired March 1st or of this year or last. You were covered until February 28th of 2022. So they've done, and the extension is simply that you won't get a ticket until then, but you're still responsible for all the back pay for all the tickets or all the sticker time that has passed since the pandemic began, essentially. Kathy Taylor, let's see here. Okay. So the question is, I'll put it up on screen for those that are on the other platforms, and Kathy's coming in from Facebook. Thanks, by the way. It's nice to see people jumping in on the other platforms. We love TikTok, but it's a nice visit to have folks jumping in from the other platforms too. So the question is, good morning. I live in an area that has a lot of bike paths. I use a power, as a user of a power wheelchair, am I allowed to use the bike path? I don't think that you're precluded from using them. Now, if there's no walking path in addition to the bike path, I would say yes. I don't believe that there's any regulation saying you can't. Yeah, I'm gonna go and look into it, but I'm pretty sure you're good to go, Kathy. I can't imagine. Additionally, I can't imagine anyone giving you a hard time. Other than cyclists being unhappy and ringing their bells, but beyond that, I think you're good to go. And just we have a sergeant from the Bahamas in the chat. So good day to you, and I want to come visit. And when I visit, I want to come say hello. So send me a DM. We got another person that
I
is.
got it.
You're on it, okay. Someone from Twitch wants to sell us followers. I don't know why anyone would pay them for followers, but anyway. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. Let's see here. Should I take my own car or the DMV car for test? Do you mean DMV like your driver teacher, your instructor's car? I would say take the vehicle that is most physically sound or mechanically sound, and that you're most comfortable driving because you want to pass the test. But yeah, as long as, because if you take your own car and your own car has issues, that could be a problem. But I don't know what your options are. Hey, we just hit 550 people on YouTube. Nice. Our YouTube channel, although we get lots of views, is growing slowly from our followers. So it's very cool when we see these things. Not like our 185,000 followers on TikTok, but 550 for YouTube. That's pretty cool. Okay. Which roads can't ride bicycles? Which roads can I not ride a bicycle on? You can ride a bicycle in any road except highways, like expressways. Those are the only ones you can't be on. Now, there are ones that are safer than others because they have bicycle paths and so on. You can't be on sidewalks. But the road itself, you can be on the road. Okay. What did police use before? Laptops in cars. So before our current, we're using CF33 Toshiba Toughbooks. Before that, we went through a couple of iterations of different variations of Motorola tablets and so on, or computers. And then, but when I started, I don't even know what it's called anymore. I can't remember the name, but it had a little tiny screen that was, I can't remember if it was green or amber, and it was horrible. It was a MDT mobile data terminal, but I don't know who made it, or maybe it was Motorola. There was no graphic user interface. It was just text. It was. I'm going to try and find some pictures and share with everybody on my Instagram. If you check out my Instagram, it is my Instagram is voiceover cop, and I'll put it up on there as opposed to, it's not really traffic. Main traffic channel related, because we have a traffic services page for Instagram, but I'll put it on VoiceOver Cop there. So if you don't follow me, check it out and follow me there. I don't post frequently, but when I post, it's usually in relation to answering a question from these lives. So there you go. Are catalytic converters required? Yes, they are. Not only are they required, it is a significant charge if you don't have one. It's part of the emissions requirements, so it's Environmental Protection Act charges if you don't have one. So definitely don't want to mess with that. Why has this got a... Okay.
I'm at a red light. An
Yeah.
ambulance comes up from behind. All three lanes are blocked. Do we go through the red?
It's funny how many people ask this question, and the answer is no. You don't go through the red because you're not legally permitted to, because you don't have traffic clearing lights and a siren mounted to the front, and you're not an ambulance, fire truck, or police car. You can, in that situation, if you have to, and hug the right and make a turn. However, nobody in an emergency vehicle is going to come up beside you or behind you and hit the horn and say, move out of our way. Our training puts us into oncoming traffic to go into the clear view, the clear path. So there's an easy funnel, and that is into oncoming traffic. Now, in the rare occasion that they were like parked in, you were at a stoplight and you were in traffic and there was nowhere to go, they were stuck behind you. Yeah, they could put, I suppose, a situation where they light up their emergency equipment. And again, not going through the intersection, because it would be extremely dangerous for you and you're not covered. You'd want to go right and hug the corner. But again, I don't think that's a common occurrence. At least it shouldn't be. Where can you move your license plate to? Nowhere. It's supposed to be in the rear and front of your vehicle. Front bumper or grille, rear placement where the lights are, because you have to illuminate your rear plate, and you have to produce 3 candela of lighting, because that's a very specific number that's in the Highway Traffic Act. At least 3 candela. Now, in terms of the front, it has to be somewhere in the front of the vehicle. It can't be in your windshield. That's not permitted. That's the middle of your vehicle also. Now, in terms of the front of the vehicle, where? Well, if you don't want to have it in the place that's provided, you could zip tie it to your front grille. It's at the front. I see a lot of people using tow hook adapters. I don't have a problem with those. It's the front of your vehicle, and that's still a conspicuous place. But you can't put it somewhere other than. Can't be stapled to the front hood. You can't face the sky. Like, people get some really creative ideas, and they're not good. Yeah, so there's not a lot of options, not many. But not having one, definitely the worst option, because there's a lot of folks who get pulled over for not displaying both plates, which is a requirement in Ontario. Would a canine be able to detect a firearm in my car? If I was a canine handler, I would probably be able to answer that question. I am not. However, we have a canine handler who regularly jumps into our conversations here, and I'm just looking to see if I see him on LinkedIn. I don't see him on LinkedIn. He hasn't said hello, so I'm assuming I don't have an answer for you right now. Why do you have a firearm in your car? Just writing down your username. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. There are dogs that are cadaver dogs. There are dogs that are bomb dogs. I'm assuming a bomb dog would be able to detect even the faintest residue of a firearm or the gunpowder. If it was recently fired, probably more than if it had never been fired. I don't actually know, but I've watched a lot of Discovery Channel. Do you know if a bomb dog? No, Sarge shaking his head. So. And there you go. Q has reached out to our resident dog expert, and his answer is definitely. So don't pack heat. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Let's see. Do what? Do QC car? Does a Quebec car lose points when getting a speed ticket? Yeah. If you are a vehicle from anywhere in Canada and you're operating in any province in Canada and you get a ticket, we have reciprocal agreements between provinces, and you would get points and negative effects to your driver's license. Equally, we have reciprocal agreements with New York and Michigan. If you're in Ontario, Quebec has different ones. Yes. And for those that are asking, because address license renewal expiry date. Whoa. Address license renewal. We just did a video about this. So if you're not watching chat, but everyone here is watching chat, you would know that I just posted a video about this. And it is February 28th. If your license or the validation sticker expired March 1st or later, you have until February 28th, 2022 to renew it. Now, what does that really mean? It means that you don't have to wait then. You could do it today. If you're under 80 years old, I imagine many of you on this application or are just many of you watching live streaming, maybe under 80, you can do it online. So you're pretty much all eligible. Now, if you have the requirement of having a new photo, you might have to go in. But for most things, you can go and do it online. I had to do it in person because I had a weird license that was no longer available. I had the enhanced thing so I could go cross-border shopping. But yeah, now you just go online. Now, if you do have to go in, it was really quick and easy for me. Even with going in person, there was like 10 people in line. It went very quickly. So they've got their stuff together. If you want to go in, you can. And there's no benefit to waiting. That's the big thing. There's no discounts. You still pay for all the time that's elapsed after your expiry. It just is convenient and for those who have concerns of safety. Okay. I saw a Toronto police car in Whitby. Why? I don't know. They may have had a reason because we are police in the province of Ontario. We can do things. We serve papers. We may have an event or a special call. I have no idea why that person was there, but they would have been there for a legitimate reason. Maybe they were transporting or picking up a prisoner. Actually, the last time I was out that way, it was for delivering somebody that we arrested that was wanted on a warrant, and we had to hand them off to the police service who was holding the warrant. So that might be a good reason. I'm trying to think of any other reason why we'd be going out of our jurisdiction, but there's always things we do. There's lots of things we do that involve other areas. Sometimes it's to go to get a witness statement or notify a member of a family when someone's died. Like, there's so many reasons. I think I already got your address or this question, but do tow trucks have lights on them? Do we need to give way? No, you don't pull over for tow trucks. They do not have traffic clearing lights nor authority. Is it possible to get a yellow light ticket? So fail to stop for amber signal is going through a yellow light. You are required to stop for a yellow light. It's the same as a red signal. If you go to a red light, you're supposed to stop. Well, yellow light means the same thing. It just has that caveat saying if it's safe to do so. So if you're past the point of no return when it turns yellow, you're legally allowed to go through. If you had lots of opportunity to stop and chose not to by accelerating and speeding up to make that yellow, yeah, expect a ticket.
Can we go back?
Can we go back where?
Lights?
In time?
Oh, sure. Can we do that? No, but do we have to give way for volunteer firefighters with the green light on their cars?
So for those who don't live in the city of Toronto, and because in Toronto you may never have seen a private vehicle with a flashing green light on the front of it. What is that? A flashing green light is a volunteer firefighter, and they are allowed to have those lights on there so that they can let people know that they're on their way to do something kind of important, like save their house or save a human. They're there going for an emergency, getting to the fire station to get their equipment and head out and do what they do. Do you have to legally pull over for them? No, you don't. Should you? Because they're trying to do a good thing? Yes, you should. And but it's a courtesy thing as opposed to a requirement. You won't be charged if you don't. We'll just think you're not being very friendly. Let's see here. Is it legal to have your windows dipped? Dipped in what? Chocolate? Like, what would you dip your window? I have no idea. Like dip, like sprayed? What would you dip your...
Tint?
Dip in tint?
So some tint can be like the stickered tint, and then there's other like glass.
Oh, an applicator film, and there's other ones that are like this is news to me. Can you? So the regulation for tint is pretty simple. You cannot restrict or light to beyond 30% light blockage on the windows left and right of the driver, nor can you do it to your front windshield. Whether you dip it or spray it or I can't think of anything else to make fun of windows. But yeah, you can't have reflective and ultimately you can't obstruct or obscure the interior of the vehicle. We have to be able to see inside, and you could find yourself getting a ticket if you cannot see inside. And I saw a great example of a vehicle with tint that was too dark yesterday. As I went to go get a bite to eat, and I was not in uniform, but my goodness, was it dark. It was just a black window, could not see inside at all under daylight conditions. That would have been a good ticket. Okay. Can I book my G2 test after getting my G1? I haven't the foggiest. I've been asked this before. I don't know if the system makes you wait before you can book it or if you can get ahead of the line and book it. I would suggest not doing that right now, and not because it's bad or they won't let you, because it's a courtesy for the folks who are trying to get their G2s and can't get their G2s but are eligible right now. And if you book your tests, you're taking a test away from somebody else. And I would wait until you're closer to, and by then I imagine most people are through, and you've got lots of time, and other people are approaching expiry. So do what you got to do, but but you need to inquire with the MTO on that one. Question from the chat is, I don't remember if I paid a Montreal parking ticket over 10 years ago. My son got into a car and is driving across borders. Will it be an issue? Montreal, so you're coming in from the States or you're coming in from another province. If you didn't have a parking ticket, wouldn't be against your license. It would be against your validation against your car. I imagine you would have heard about it already. I don't know. I don't know if they'll have a problem with. I don't think you're going to get pulled over for an unpaid parking ticket. It would be an issue with your driver's your license. Or I don't think you're going to have a problem. But you could always inquire with the police there if you wanted to get ahead of it. But I don't know how their parking tickets are enforced. Okay. What is the most illegal car mod? Most common is probably easier. Most modifications I see are specifically related to exhaust systems. Is one of the most, but I don't know the most illegal. They're all. It's either permitted or not permitted under safety. I don't think one is more or less illegal. Yeah. There's so many, but I don't know one that's more illegal than another. It's. Oh, lack of seatbelts is a good. That's actually that one has points. Oh yeah, no headlights. It's just don't modify your car illegally, regardless of which one's the most or not the most. But anyway, and for anyone who's still in the room, my name is Sean Shapiro. That's 127 people here. In case you're new, my name is Sean Shapiro, and I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service, and we talk about traffic and safety and police stuff here. And if you got questions, throw them in the Q&A because we'd love to answer them. Are license plate covers legal? No, they're not. You can't cover your license plate in any way, shape, or form, tinted or clear. Although you probably won't have problems with clear, it is technically illegal. But if it obstructs, like even if it's construction in clear plastic was thicker in certain areas and was not optically correct, you could see it could be an issue. Isn't MTO now known as Service Ontario? So Ministry of Transportation Office, most people call it Service Ontario. Is it actually called Service Ontario now instead of the MTO? Apparently, I need to change my verbiage to reflect.
Service Ontario will do multiple things, including.
Sergeant Campbell just said that Service Ontario does a whole bunch of stuff. Like they also handle your renewal of your health cards and such, whereas MTO is MTO. But I think they're all combined offices now. Is there an MTO only office? I don't know. There's like the head office near the OPP detachment. Maybe that's MTO only. But I say MTO, but it is Service Ontario. You're absolutely right. And that was Canadians 8 who was throwing that up.
There's a question in chat. School bus on opposite side of a four-way stop sign with the bar open. Could I go right or should I wait?
I can't imagine. Why would they? Okay. I'll throw this one into the discussion because I've learned my lesson with discussions regarding school buses, whether it be their color or their operation. Four-way stop. You approach the stop. You're facing the stop sign. At the other side, there's a school bus with its stop bar out. Can you make a right or left turn when the stop sign when it's stopping straight through traffic?
I would say yes, because
You're not passing. And I was hesitant to give my opinion until I heard from the Sarge. But you should be able to make the right turn. You're not passing that school bus in that situation. But I would be extremely cautious because children tend to do things that are unexpected. So, even though it makes sense and that you're not passing the school bus, you could have someone who assumes you're not going to go. So be cautious. What is the MTO? Ministry of Transportation Office, otherwise known as Service Ontario, to get all your Ontario documents and stuff needs. What else would you do there? Besides, I don't know what else you do. You get your health card, you get your driver's license, you transfer vehicles, but I don't know what other functions they have, and it's for another conversation after I read their website. What happens when, this I have no idea. What happens when a Class 7 receives 2 suspension? We have a different. You're not in Ontario because I don't know what a Class 7 relates to. Is that a regular G? Yeah, we're all shrugging here. We're Ontarians here. I don't know what your thing is. Now, if Mr. Pinn was in the room, he would be able to answer that because he is outside of Ontario and knows lots of stuff about that. He's a driving instructor and a wealth of knowledge, as is our very own safe driver who may or may not be in the room right now. Chat is wonky and laggy. Oh, that's not good. So we're having some problems on TikTok. TikTok is no bueno this morning. And Safe Driver is here. So Safe Driver, you might be able to decode the numbers. I don't know this stuff. I don't know about other provincial numbers. I check a license. It tells me if it's valid. I don't know. That's terrible to say. But yeah, when it's out of province, it's so uncommon for me to see. But we can verify all this stuff. But I just don't know the numbers offhand. Got to look up in the book. Excuse me. Let's see here. Like in the movies, 2111. Oh. Can you stop me can I commandeer a vehicle? That's the question. Can you stop me to use my car to chase somebody like they do in the movies? I can't imagine the letter that I'd have to write if I commandeered your vehicle. The I'm sorry, boss, I took someone's. I don't. Technically, I bet you we could, but I don't know, and I don't want to know. Yeah. How did I get away from my my police car to have to use somebody else's car? I think I'd opt for my car. I'd stick with that. Let's see. It's great questions today. Class 7 is a learner's. Class 5 is a full license. Thank you, Q. So as a learner's permit you're asking about 2 suspensions with a learner's permit. So in Ontario, if you got 2 suspensions for violating your conditions, the third one would cause you or you'd be kicked out 30 days, then 90 days, then kicked out of the graduate licensing program, and really a well-earned suspension or boot out of the system, because if you keep getting suspended as a learner, that's a problem. Okay, who has the right of way on a roundabout? I'm going to say the person in the roundabout. You got to yield to the people in the roundabout.
Multiple lane one, the person closest.
To the outside, to the center. So if it's in a multiple lane roundabout, which I've actually never been in, it would be the person on the closest to the center who has the right of way. Okay. Here's a question that comes in 3 parts. I'm going to read it rather than putting it on screen. I got a red light ticket for a year ago. Still haven't received a court date. Will it be thrown out? And the answer is I don't know. I would assume that you should still connect with the courts and get definitive response as to what's going on with it. To assume that it's just going to be thrown out without written notice, I would say is a mistake. Yeah. You got to assume that it may just be delayed, and I know they're dealing with a huge backlog. Can I change my Quebec driver's license without an exam to Ontario? Yeah, if you have your full license, when you move here, you would trade same for same. Okay. Can we have 5% tint at rear windows? The answer is yes. Your rear window is not really regulated. You can be as dark as you want. The windows that are important are the windows left and right of the driver, and the windshield. The ones behind the driver can be limo tint. They can be dark. Let's see here. Why can't you own automatic guns in, I'm assuming Canada, because Canadian gun laws are for the entire country. Because you can't. You're not allowed to have automatic weapons, and they were prohibited many, many moons ago. Those who own them then are allowed to still use them, but they can or own them and can only be used at specific military ranges. So there you go. Q asks that you please follow us because she needs to retire when we hit 250,000 followers. Only 65,000 more to go. Q, your day is coming close.
I know. I can taste it.
You can taste it. and Sergeant Campbell says you're not retiring. Good morning to our friend, the Safe Driver. If you don't already follow him, you should. He is a magical man from Happy Land. He has great content and is a driving instructor, but like king of the driving instructors, because he trains other driving instructors to be driving instructors. You should follow him. He's got great content. What is this? How are speed cameras constitutionally legal? Constitutionally? I don't know. They're legal because they've been put in place, and they've determined legality, thus they were permitted, and I can't argue about constitutionality. But they are in place, they are legal, and you can argue it in court if you don't like the ticket. Or you could choose not to speed, and then you won't get a ticket for them. So I've been seeing a lot of these questions. Can you modify a dirt bike to make it road legal? And I assume if you put put on all the required equipment, headlights, signals, speedometer, brake light, and such, that you could, in fact, make it street legal. But you'd need to get it certified for the road by a mechanic, and at that point, apply for a plate. So, yeah. To get money, what is this? Are homeless people allowed to go into the road to get money? So, homeless or not, you're not allowed to approach vehicles in an intersection to panhandle, and it's under the Safe Streets Act that they can be charged. So no, they're not permitted to, and certainly they can't aggressively. There's a bunch of restrictions. They can't. No one can approach to panhandle at a bank machine. There's a bunch of different places under the Safe Streets Act that are regulated. So yeah, if someone's doing that, you can certainly notify. What? This shirt? Q's asking me about my shirt and
There's
whether
a
or not.
second button underneath it. That one's
Oh.
already buttoned, and it's not buttoned.
Thank
There.
you. I had an undone button and I don't even know how you saw that. Okay,
Because I read the chat.
Oh, it's in the chat.
No, because I read the chat. The letters are right where the button is.
Oh, so you're staring at the undone button. There you go. I don't even know how that came undone. Okay. Uncooperative buttons. So wherever she's reading is yeah, I see. Okay. I'm like, wow. I couldn't even see that because I had the chat window up. Anyway. This is taking a turn. Okay. Like in the movies. Okay, this is a follow-up to that one. Let's go here. Light on the ground. I think we're talking about underglow there. Can it suspend my license? What is this? Johnny says, can't they suspend my license for non-payment? Is that in relation to the Montreal speed camera ticket? So no, speed camera tickets are not tickets that will change your driver's license because they're not issued against the driver. They're issued against the owner of the vehicle, but from the vehicle perspective. So you may not be able to renew your plates for non-payment, but it wouldn't affect your driver's license. Whereas if you were issued a ticket by a police officer and you didn't pay it, then they could suspend for non-payment of license. Do you want me to read that, Q, or is that just for
Go
me?
ahead.
What's that?
Go ahead. I have no shame.
Tell everyone I'm neurotic without telling everyone I'm neurotic. Why don't you? That's hilarious. Okay. Can red light tickets give amber light tickets? Can red light cameras give amber light tickets? No, I don't believe they do. I think they're very specifically only for red light. So lucky for everyone who runs the ambers, you only get police officers issuing that ticket. Mostly because I assume they can't determine or subjectively make the determination that it was done not in safety, and that there was no excuse for it. It's simply crossing the line before it's red on a red light camera. Sorry, crossing the line after it's red. What are some ranks and what those ranks do? So I'm a police constable. I'm the first rank. There's actually 4 stages as a police constable. You start as a 4th class constable. You work your way up to a 1st class constable. I am a 1st class constable. Now there are the next rank up would be sergeant. They're a supervisor role. They would manage or supervise police constables, and beyond that, what can they do? We're all police officers, and we can all do the same thing, but in terms of management structure, there's different responsibilities. And above a sergeant is a staff sergeant. From a staff sergeant, you have an inspector, staff inspector, superintendent, staff superintendent, deputy chief, and then the chief. So what do they do? That's a long. So it depends on who the level of responsibility, and it's a management structure. Is there another easy way to throw that out there? I think that's the most, but the majority of police officers you see on the road are police constables or special constables now. That's a new role. What is the difference between running an amber and running a red? The wording in a ticket. That's the difference. Both are requiring you to stop. The amber has an out in that if it was a justified or reason for safety, that you would be allowed to continue if it was unsafe to stop for that amber. So let's say it turns amber while you're 5 feet away from the line. There's no reasonable way for you to stop. And at that point, you are permitted to continue through. But if you were, 500 meters away and you saw that amber turn yellow and you decided to hit your Hemi into high gear and goose it to try and catch it, that's not going to be permitted. That's two extremes, but, give you painting you a picture. Can I call 911 if I don't feel comfortable or or I feel unsafe with an officer who pulled me over? I don't know if you don't believe they're a police officer and you want to verify that they're a police officer, you most certainly can. I'd let the officer know what you're about to do. It's not an excuse to get out of the situation, but if you have a real concern for your safety or you think it's not really a police officer, then you can call. And a dispatcher is going to know where you are, or at least is going to know where a police officer is, because they're going to put that call over the air and say, I'm pulling a car over at this location. So if that is something you can do. And that question came out of the chat. Let's see here. How did you get started in the courts? I applied. I was an auxiliary officer, volunteering my time. I had so much fun. I saw a posting for court officer. I jumped on it. There was a hiring freeze, so police officer was not an opportunity at the time. So I wore 2 uniforms for many years and then switched over. Let's see here. So another question about the same thing. We already covered it. Trying to avoid duplicate answers to questions I just answered.
Okay, there's one that's been asked in chat and again in the QA, but
Okay.
was answered in chat. I guess maybe they can't see. But can I drive a car if I'm not insured on it?
So if the vehicle is insured, it's insured. And if you are a driver who is properly licensed to operate that motor vehicle, you can drive it. Except if and it's not a legal thing, it's a insurance thing. If you live with the owner of that vehicle and you're a learner, you may be, or actually, if you live with the owner, you may have to simply be listed. This is an insurance question again. So an insurance company may have caveats or restrictions and say that if someone lives with you, that they have to be listed on the policy. If you do not do what they tell you to do, they may deny your claim. But from a policing perspective, if you are a licensed driver operating a vehicle that is licensed, you do not specifically have to be named and prove that you're named on that policy. You just have to be able to prove that there's insurance on the vehicle. And that's it. Now, I have a question here. If I require glasses to drive, can I wear contacts? The answer is yes. You need to wear corrective lenses. What form those corrective lenses take is not our concern. And our final question, actually, we may have time for another one. Do all cops love donuts? Doesn't everybody love donuts? I mean, muffins? I would choose chicken wings given the option, but I don't know anyone who says no. I shall not. Now I'm a donut snob. I do prefer Krispy Kreme over Tim's, but in the absence of options, I'll take a donut from Tim's, sure. and Cardam's is Q's. I've never had a Cardam's, nor have I had from that other company whose name I shall not name or mention. But I don't like American donuts. They don't taste right, except for Krispy Kremes, which anywhere. What's 4 years driving experience when teaching a G1? 4 years driving experience is 4 years driving experience. That has to be what a G-class driver has in order to be able to supervise legally a G1 driver. So what does that really mean? It means that the clock starts when you get your G2. So if you did 5 years as a G2, you can't do 5 years as a G2. Well, maybe you can now. But let's say you got 2 years as a G2, then you got 2 years as a G. You are now, you're good. Gong Show's in the house. Hey, Gong Show. Gong Show's a member of the Motor Squad. He's not an old moderator. He's a magical man from Happy Land. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. How is being a police officer affected my life? I have been able to pay my bills. I don't know, it's great. I always wanted to be a cop since I was a little kid. I've been very fortunate in that I've been able to achieve my goal, my dream of being a police officer. Not only that, I grew up watching Chips, so I wanted to be a motorcycle officer. I got to do that. So I'm living the dream. I'm having a great time, and I wouldn't want to do anything else except be independently wealthy. I think I would be okay with that. But I'd come back as a volunteer. I've been with the service for over 20 years. I love what I do. And Linda Kosak says, I love donuts. We all do. Why would people ask? I'm not going to read the rest of it. Okay. But she does love our police. And thank you. We appreciate it. Okay. That was. I'm glad it didn't come up on screen, and I would have had to not read. Would have been mute. Okay. We are out of time. It is that time that I must say goodbye, as I have many other things that need to get done. But it has been a blast, and we'll be back here tomorrow at 9 o'clock. And we hope to see you there. If you don't already follow us, please do. If you have questions, throw them in the Q&A. Even though Q&A is not working properly, apparently our chat is not working properly. It's a TikTok thing, not a us thing. We're going to blame them entirely. If you are on the YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, thank you for tuning in. It's been a blast. We will be back again tomorrow, like I said. Tell your friends, share this around, get people to come in and join it, because the more the merrier. We have fun. And you know what? If you don't want to tell anybody else because you want to keep all this good information to yourself and just look like you know everything at parties, well, listen, power to you. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Be safe.
Follow our live event. Share our live event.
Yes, I will. You know what I'll do right now? After we finish this live, I am going to post tomorrow's. I'm going to actually create a calendar entry in TikTok. That way you can go in and you can share it, so you can help bring all your friends and family in. Because you know what? They're just going to love you more because you shared the goodness. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Bye, TikTok.
To the countdown. I think we're good. Okay, and now we're going to do the same thing here. We got people here. We got people on traffic services, YouTube. We got people who are coming in from 2 different Facebook pages. We got folks from Twitch. Nobody from LinkedIn today. LinkedIn is not happening. We were busy on LinkedIn yesterday, not today. In any case, be safe out there, and we'll see you soon.